Okay, we're starting section 1B, which talks about managing files and folders. To start this lesson, let's go ahead and open Windows Explorer. And as I mentioned previously, this is the navigation area that has our common areas, favorites, files, favorites, libraries, computer, and network. And as the book mentions, you can see here we have our drives. We have our C drive, our D drive, and I added our flash drive, which is now the E drive. So let's move on. Let's talk about creating a new folder. Let's go to our documents. And under documents, we're going to, let's drop this down and choose public documents. We're going to create a new folder. So there's a couple different ways of doing it. The simplest way probably is just click up here to the bar and hit new folder. And from here, we're going to create a folder called pictures. Pictures. All right. And let's create a new folder. Let's call this one documents. Pictures and documents. Those are the two folders that we are creating. All right, and that's how you. Another way of creating a folder, by the way, is you could actually right-click and hit New and choose Folder as well. So that's another way of creating a new folder. All right. Now you'll see from here we do have the ability to search. We can sort by name, by date modified, type, and by size. This is the detail view. There are a couple different views over here. If you drop this arrow down, it gives you more options. You can go to List. You can go to small icons, large icons, tiles, and content. Myself, I prefer details because it tells you a little more about the actual folders or the files that we're looking for. All right, the next part of the lesson talks about moving and renaming folders. And what I want you to do is, you won't have the disks, but if you look under the content for this week, there is a zip file that has the files for this lesson. So my files are located on my C drive, my D drive. So I'm going to go to my D drive and I'm going to choose student data files, which is what you will find, student data files. And I'm going to go ahead and remove a couple of these files. So again, let's here we have a couple of files. My type, my size. And also go to type, you actually choose a specific type as well. So let's go ahead and sort by name. And what we want to do is we want to copy a couple of these files over. So let's grab budget, and we're going to copy it over to the documents folder. So we have a couple of different ways of doing this. One, we can right-click, copy, documents, go to documents, and we can paste. That's one way of doing it. Okay, copy and paste. Another way is to drag. So let's say we want to grab this agave picture. We want to drag this guy, or hold our mouse button down. Drag this guy here. Copy and paste. Now, what that does, by the way, doesn't mean it copies. Let's say I come over here and I grab documents. So you got to be careful when it comes to dragging. If you're dragging within your PC, you can actually move it. So if you want to copy it, sometimes it's easier to right-click and copy and paste. So for the sake of less, let's go ahead and grab a couple more. Let's go to here, student data files, and let's grab. Now, let's say I want to grab a couple files. That's how you select file extension to realize how to use this. Now, if you don't see the file extension, which would be like a .wva or something to that extent, why don't you just go to the Organize tab, go to Folders and Search Options. Right here in the middle it says View, and see what it says. Hide extensions. Uncheck Hide extensions for known file types and hit OK. You should now see the file extension. See, this is a .bmp file. This tells the computer how to handle this file. So this is a file extension. All right. Now we can rename. Let's say we want to rename a file. Let's go over to here. Let's say we want to rename this guy. Rename is very simple. We right click and select rename. Now you'll notice in Windows 7, one of the things I like about Windows 7 is it realizes that you probably don't want to get rid of the file extension. So what it does, it only highlights the files that are the name part of it. So I can call this one fuel ration. Okay. Now let's just say you did get rid of the file extension. First of all, it's going to give you a message. Are you sure you want to? Because once you get rid of it, it's unusable. So if I hit yes and I try to open it, Windows has no idea what to do with it. Now, this doesn't mean that the file is lost. All I have to do is right-click, rename, and add the .bmp to it, and all of a sudden now the file becomes available again. All right. So that's how you rename it, that's how you copy it, and that's how you paste it. Deleting it, by the way, is very simple. I can just select it, and on your keyboard, or you can right-click and hit delete, or on your keyboard you can hit delete as well. All right. Now I mentioned earlier about the different types of views that we have. This is the detail view. Look, now that we're in this picture folder full of pictures, let's take a look at some of the other options. Let's go to here and let's select extra large icons. That tells us that it allows us to see it. Different views, sometimes different views are better for different folders. In this situation here, this actually works because you can kind of see what the files look like. Okay, that's what the small icons view. That's how the different views work. All right, page 40, compressing files. Some of you may have heard of an application called WinZip. What WinZip is, it's an application that allows you to compress and zip files. But really the most useful, I think that it does compress files. One of the most useful parts of it is it allows you to group them. Let's say, for instance, that you wanted to send 20 file pictures to a friend. You could go to your mail. You could collect all the pictures together and email them one at a time. You can attach each of them. Or what you could do is use some kind of compression, collect them together and mail one file. Okay, so what most people don't realize is that you actually don't need to use WinZip because Windows has its own compression or zipping options. So let's take our example here. Let's say we want to compress all of these guys. So I would go ahead and select all these guys. Okay, I have all my files selected. I want to compress. I would right-click and hit Send to Compressed Zip Folder. Okay, and here I go. It has the name of the file. It gives me. So I would call this Files. Now I have one file as opposed to multiple files. Probably if you sat down and did the math, this probably is a little less than the combination of all of these guys. And I can look at it pretty simply and tell that it is. Okay, so there, now you have your zip file. You can send one file and it does save space. Now, let's say you receive the zip file. I just sent you the zip file. What are you going to do with it? Well, you can double click on it and see the files, or what you can do is you can right click on the zip file and hit Extract All. What that will do is that'll actually take the files and put them in a more searchable, make them searchable. Okay, because previously, if you had any of these files in a zip file, tried searching for them or indexing them, it wouldn't have worked. And that's how compression works. The final thing we're going to look at is searching. Now, as I mentioned, one of the changes they made in Windows 7 was they gave you the ability to search here. All right, let's go ahead and select our libraries. And we want to search for everything that has the word fuel in it. So I would go up to the top. I would type in fuel, F-U-E-L, and we would wait. And now we have everything that has the word fuel in it. Okay. So this is our fuel. Let's say that we didn't find what we were looking for. We would have the ability to search in the computer, which has the entire computer, We can choose a custom search, or we can choose search of the internet. So these are a couple of different options if we're not finding what we want. We also have the ability to save the search. So we go up here, hit Save Search. All right, and we would choose Save Search. We'll call it a field search and hit Save. So we would have this later on. Okay, that brings us down to lesson 1B.